Hello everybody! I thought I would start with the first resin project. This is actually the first one that I made, that I tried, is the letters with the glitter in them. I did not have a dye, so this is just clear resin with glitter. And I had bought this alphabet mold that I used. They have lots of different sizes, but this one was, I don't know, it seemed like it was the most available. From where I was buying it from. I would like them to be a little bit smaller, just a tad bit smaller, but I haven't been able to find one that is, just slightly smaller. I did find ones that were like half size, but those are too small. The JK size is okay, but the BTS size is really big, so I would like this to be slightly smaller, but oh well, it's okay. I don't mind. So I'm going to make one of these, but I'm going to make the BTS because I actually have a lot of JKs. I don't need any more JKs. There are two different types of glitters that I use. They're both purple glitters. This one has more of a pink glitter mixed in with it, and this one is just the one glitter that has a mix of it's like confetti, not confetti, those little streamer confetti, or not sequence confetti, I guess. And has like blue, green, purple, pink glitter mixed in. It's a mix that I bought. And then to this one, I put a little less of this glitter and a little bit more of a pink glitter. So the color is slightly different. Can you see it okay? Yeah, the color is slightly different. I don't know if you can see it through the camera. But I'll show you how I made these. The letters are actually really easy to make. I had quite a bit of a trial and error trying to figure out how to glue the letters together, and I found a way that works for me. I don't necessarily know that it's the best way, but as of right now, it's the only way I can think of. Okay, so I'll get started on that. So I mentioned in the previous video that I like to use these little plastic cups to put my resin in. And these letters actually use a lot of resin, so I'm going to put more resin into this one. This one, I don't think it has enough for the BTS, the 3 letters that I'm going to be making. So you can, if you're going to be using clear resin, you can just use this large bottle because it has like this nozzle tip or nose tip or whatever it's called, but I find it's much more difficult to work with. Oh, I should put on gloves. When working with resin, you should always wear gloves. If you get resin on your hands, it says to wash your hands immediately. So, yeah. Okay, I got my gloves. All right, so I filled this up. It's about halfway full with resin, and I have this glitter. This is the one that I used. You can use any glitter that you like. This one is called Midnight Gem. Where did I buy this from? Walmart? Target? I don't know. I can't remember. But I bought it because I thought it was pretty. It reminded me of JK's mic, because his mic is purple, but in certain light it looks a little bit bluish or pinkish. And this has all 3 colors in it. So yes, I bought it because it reminds me of JK. Okay, and then I actually use quite a bit. That's not going to come out very well. I'm going to just open it. Ooh. I use quite a bit, and I like to use popsicle stick to stir with. You can use, if you have, like the resin, not the resin, the silicone tools, you can use those, but I prefer just using a popsicle stick. And I would not recommend dumping this in here on top of your mold, because the silicone molds are a tad bit sticky too. And if you get glitter on there, they are a pain in the butt to clean off, just so you know. So I put quite a bit in here, then I mix it up, and then I check and see if I like it. When you mix it, you want to be kind of careful not to mix in too many air bubbles, because air bubbles are very difficult to get out. Well, I find them difficult to get out. If you do really thin layers and you're careful, it's okay, but especially with the glitter, it's hard to see the air bubbles sometimes. Okay, so let me see, is it all mixed up? You kind of have to check the bottom to make sure that all the resin at the bottom is also mixed in. That way you don't get like clumps of glitter. Okay, I think I'm good. And honestly, if you have a lot of glitter like this one, it's hard to see the bubbles, so it's not as bad. But if it's a little bit clearer, the bubbles appear very, very visibly. Okay, so let me see. I think this is good. So if I lift it up, you can see on the popsicle stick, right? You can still see the popsicle stick, but it has quite a bit of glitter in it. You don't want to make it too dense. This might be a little denser than, you're supposed to do it. Because if it's too dense, the UV doesn't get through and it won't harden. It won't cure as well. But this much, I use thin layers, so this much is actually okay. All right, so to pour it into the letters, so I'm doing BTS, right? With clear resin, I just pour it in and it's okay. Now, maybe I'll do that with this one. Sometimes when I have glitter in it, I don't like to pour it because then sometimes I pour it too much or off center and it goes onto the mold itself and the glitter is really hard to maneuver. So you pour some into the mold and then I move it around with the popsicle stick to make a thin layer on the bottom. Then if I need a little more, I just scoop it out with the popsicle stick. And again, you have to be careful so that it lands inside the mold and not on top of the mold. It doesn't really matter. If it's on top of the mold, you can hit it with your UV light, harden it, and just peel it right off. But it's annoying. It's better if you aim well and get it inside all at once. Okay, so just a thin layer. So with this resin, the UV resin, especially since it has glitter, you should make really thin layers. So a letter that is like about this thick, it's less than half, more than a quarter. It's a little bit more than a quarter of an inch. You should probably do 4 or 5, maybe 5 layers ish. Okay, oh, I gotta do the other letters. B, then T, got on the edge anyway. B, T, and S. And then I'm going to stick it under my UV light. This, I think I mentioned it before, but this resin tends to curl. I think it's because like it shrinks as it's drying, and the top will shrink more than the bottom. And so it curls and it annoys me. I don't like it. But I haven't figured out how to not get it to curl, if possible. So I did buy another brand. I purchased another brand. It hasn't come in yet. So when that comes in, I'm going to see if the other brand works better. Okay, so I will be right back. I am going to go put this into the UV lamp. Okay, I'll be right back. Whoa, pause. Okay, so I stuck it under the lamp for 30 seconds. Okay, and it should be hard enough. So I'm going to put on a second layer. With the glitter, it does settle. So if it's been sitting for a little while, 30 seconds isn't much, but if it sits for a while, you should stir it to mix up the resin with the glitter again. So I'm going to do a second layer. Again, you don't want to make it too thick. I may have made my layers too thick, but you don't want to try not to make it too thick. Then spread it out. So while I do this, I don't know, I debated if I should like go step by step and record the whole thing, or if I should just explain and record the not the whole process, but just show you little clips in between of the process. But I decided I'll just show you the whole thing, because sometimes I like to watch people as they make the things that they're working on, and sometimes I like to just see the progress. But if you want to see the progress, you can sort of fast forward and not watch me do this whole thing. But if I only do the progress, you can't see the process if you wanted to. So you can skip through if this part is boring. But I thought like I would just talk. Mostly about BTS. I do have BTS friends, but I don't get to talk about them a lot. Okay, I'm gonna go put this in for 30 seconds again. Okay, so that one is done. I'm gonna put another layer. Yes, as I was saying, I do have friends, and we do talk about BTS occasionally, but you know, I don't get to talk about everything for as long as I feel like. So I figure I'll talk here. If you don't want to listen, you can skip through all my talking. So yeah, today is the 10th. So today is the first day of the Seoul, Korea concert. And I bought tickets for today and Sunday to watch online. So I was up this morning to watch the concert. I was going to sleep early last night and try to get an hour or so, or no, try to get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, because I had stuff to do today as well. But I couldn't sleep. I don't know what it was. I think it was just because it was earlier than what I usually go to bed. And so I couldn't sleep. And so I was up all night. And when the concert was on, I was starting to feel really, really tired. Okay, so this is the third layer. I'm going to go cure it. I'll be right back. Okay, so now the fourth layer. Yeah, so this morning I watched the online concert, and I started getting really sleepy right at the end when they were doing the army time with the wave. I think I slept through the wave. But I woke up for the ending. Oh, they changed their outfits from the LA concert. All except for the black one. The black one was the same. But yeah, I hope this isn't a spoiler for you guys. But the white outfit that they wore at the beginning quarter of the concert, JK's outfit, it had the I don't want to say holes, but it was like holes. And you could see a lot of his chest. Well, it was the same concept, but he had a white mesh shirt underneath, and then a red tank top thingy with the holes in it. And then he had a red jacket on top of that. But oh, he looked good. He looked very good in it. He looks good in red. Jimin had a sheer red shirt on underneath his jacket. Yeah. Oh, and J-Hope. Yeah, on Facebook, a lot of people were going crazy about J-Hope because for one of his outfits, he had a see-through shirt. Like Jimin, his was mesh, so it's kind of hard to see through. It was just in a certain lighting, a certain angle. When he was dancing, his jacket flew open and you can see his chest. JK, you really couldn't see much because of the white mesh that was underneath the red. But J-Hope, you could see very well. That had a lot of people dying. Okay, this is the 5th layer. Okay, I think this will be the last layer, and then I'm going to pop them out, I think. Yeah, J-Hope was see-through. Jimin was see-through. JK was holy. They all looked really good. They all had new haircuts. Well, I guess not necessarily new, but not all of them were new, but yeah, they all had their hair done and they all looked really, really good. RM was the only one who didn't have dark colored hair. So they were all dark this time around. But it was so sad because, you know, in Korea they have the mandate where the fans are not allowed to shout. They're not allowed to stand up. So they had to stay seated the whole time. And they were giving these like clappers that look like a fan. And that was all they were allowed to use to make noise. And you can kind of see, like every now and then you can see the guys' faces. They were a little bit flustered because they weren't hearing the noise that they were used to hearing. I can only imagine how weird that must have been, though, you know, because you're used to hearing cheers and whatnot, and you say something and there's no cheering. And even though you know that it's silent because it was mandated to be such, it has to be a weird feeling. And so they were cheering for each other, which was really cute. They were acting the part of the fans for each other. That was really sweet. Then after the concert, JK came on, he posted a video on Instagram talking about the concert, and oh, he's so sweet. He was asking the fans, he was asking everybody, you know, did you enjoy it? Was it okay? And he's like, throughout the concert, after the concert, that was his biggest concern. You know, were they able to really enjoy the concert? They tried their best to, you know, still make it high energy and fun, impactful for the fans, but he wasn't sure because he couldn't see anyone's facial expressions. He couldn't see, you know, people dancing and moving, and he couldn't hear their cheers. So, you know, he couldn't tell what their responses were. So he was worried that, you know, people may have been, you know, disappointed or didn't really enjoy it as much as usual. Okay, this is the last layer, so I'm going to go cure this. Okay, it's all been cured. It is fully dry. It's not tacky, so that's good. Okay, sometimes if it's not fully dried, it'll be a little tacky, but these are okay. And then we just have to pop it out. And they should come out pretty easy. So that's my B. This is my T. And my S. Okay. So from this step, if you just wanted to leave this letter by itself, you could finish it off this way. And the way you finish it off is that you have to dome it. You add a layer of clear glitter, or you can use this one too, actually. But you add a layer on top so that it forms like a little dome, and it makes it pretty. But I wanna attach my letters together. And that has to be, it doesn't have to be, but it's better to do it before you dome it, because sometimes you have to add a layer on top after you attach them to cover up where they've been attached. Does that make sense? What I'm doing right now is there's pieces that are sticking out because the resin went over the edge of the mold. And so there's like little pieces. I'm just taking off some of the little pieces. If you have a file, you can file it down. I don't have my file with me. I actually want to buy a file set just for the resin. The nail files that I use, they don't work very well. So I want to buy like a metal file set to do this. And again, when you work with resin, especially if you're going to be filing, you want to make sure you wear a mask. One, you know, the fumes that come out. This one, the resin doesn't have as much fumes, but it still does have fumes. So you want to be careful of that. And when you sand it, you know, you want to be careful of all the dust that comes off the sand. All right, so with these letters, the first time I did it with this BTS and with this JK, the letters, let me see, am I in camera? Okay, the letters are pretty flat. But annoyingly, with this new resin, I think I mentioned it in my video, introduction video, but this resin, it dries kind of curved. So actually what I'm going to do before I do anything else, I'm going to try and see if I put it under the UV light this way, if it will curl it, straighten out a bit, because it's curved a lot. It's curved a lot. So when I lay it down, it doesn't lay straight, it rocks. So I'll be right back. I'm going to see if I can, if curing it on the other side will help straighten it a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I tried it and no, it's still curved. It's not straightening out. Yeah, so I'll just have to work with it this way. So the way I stick it together, I think I have to do it backwards because yeah, this way it's going to go underneath. Okay, so you want it to lay flat on whatever surface you're using. I'm using the silicone. So you can use something like this silicone mat, or I think you can use the non-stick sheets for baking. I don't bake, so I'm not quite sure what it is. Is that straight? Yeah, I don't want to leave too much room, but I don't want to make it too close. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them together like this. And for this initial part, I'm going to actually use this because I don't want to carry it back and forth. So I'm going to use my small UV light flashlight. And for the center, I'm not going to use the glitter. I am going to use clear. So I'm going to set this one aside. And I'm going to pull out my clear, but I'm going to pour it into another little cup instead of using it from this big bottle. Okay, so this is my way of putting the letters together. I tried finding a way on YouTube, but no one glues letters together. Yeah, I couldn't find anyone doing it, so yeah, I just have to do it my way. Okay, this one's gonna be a little tricky because I haven't done it through a camera before. Usually I'm right above it. Okay, so if you buy tape, like I bought the resin tape, and I can actually use the resin tape to tape the sides, and that will help prevent it from leaking outwards. I'm just going to use this thing. I hope this thing works. Ooh. And with this, if you press, well, if this was flat, pressing it down into silicone would usually hold it still, but it's not flat, so I'm not sure if it will hold very well. That's okay. When I first did it, I didn't have these, so I really just poured and then stuck it under the UV light really quickly. Okay, so just going to pour like a thin layer. Actually, I don't need this for the first layer. You'll put a really thin layer right on the bottom. So try to aim it so that the resin goes through into the space between the two letters. It doesn't have to be a thick layer, just a layer that goes across. You don't want to put too much because you don't want it to ooze out. So here it's starting to ooze out already, so I'm going to push it back in a little. Hold it there, and then I need to move this out of the way. And use my UV light. So this is going to take a little bit of time. Oh, might be moved. It's going to take a little time because you have to work layer by layer. Oh, I keep moving them. Oh, no. You have to work layer by layer with the clear. I think if I put the tape up on the side, I might be able to do thicker layers and not worry about such thin layers, but if you don't have tape, this is how to do it. So after I'm done with this, I will stick it under the big UV lamp because you have to hold it for a while otherwise. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little bit more. So basically I'm building up the center here, layer by layer with resin. Okay. And what I did is actually pour it in the middle, let it run outwards. But hit it with the UV light before it reaches the edge, because as long as the center is full, you can actually turn it sideways and fill in the edge a little bit. But if it runs over the edge, it's really hard to clean it up. So yeah, so it's easy to fill in if it's missing some resin here or in the bottom, but if it runs over and it hangs out past the letters, it's hard to clean that up because you'd have to sand it an awful lot to get it to be flat. And I don't have good sandpaper to do that. Okay. So usually I will do this until it reaches flush with the letters themselves. Now you probably should not have the UV light going while you're pouring the resin in there, because it will harden right away as it's flowing. Okay. And it might harden on your stick, which would not be a good thing. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay. I think this one is almost done. Let me see. A little bit more. So usually I will try to fill it up to the edge of the letter. And then I will dome everything all together. Okay. Oh. It gets warm when it's curing, so be careful. It's not like hot, but it is warm to touch. Okay, and now I'm going to get the similar spacing between the S and the T as I did with the B and the T. Is the S straight? S is hard to figure out if it's straight. Just have to do close as possible. And you're going to do the same thing. It's not sticking. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. And this one is a smaller space, so you don't need as much resin. Okay. You know, yesterday, yesterday was the second one. A few days ago, they released new merchandise for Permission to Dance. Did you guys see that? Originally, I thought it was just the second release of the one that they had before with the same photo cards and everything. But they released it with a whole new set of photo cards, which I like because I do like photo cards. I kind of debated whether or not to get it because some of them look similar to the first release. But there was a couple pictures that were different, and I really liked the way JK looked. It was more of a relaxed attire, relaxed clothing, and a relaxed look, like his hair and everything. Okay, I messed up on this one. Oh well. It was a much more relaxed look, and I really liked it, so I wanted to get it. So I did buy it, but I think I bought too many. So this set, it only has 4 cards per member, unlike the usual 7 or 8 cards per member. And I didn't know this. It didn't register. I don't think it registered to anyone, but the cards are not random. Like, until now, Permission to Dance, 달마중, Souzu, like all the cards that I have purchased have been random, which means like each set just has a different number of different card number for each member. And even if you get like a 5-pack or whatever, you're not guaranteed to get one of each member, right? Well, they decided that this time around that they would make sure that you got one of each member if you bought a pack, like a 5-pack. And so each 5-pack has a full OT7, which is great. I think it's wonderful. But I wish they made that clear because I bought a lot. I think I bought four OT packs. I mean the 5-pack. So now I have 4 OT7s. I mean, it's okay. I can always sell it. Alright. It's a little odd, but alright. Okay, so now that I have that, it's not fully dry because I was using that thing. But as you can see here, this is where it like ran out. This I will have to cut and possibly sand later. Same thing on this side. It ran further than I usually make it. And this side. So this you have to go really slowly. I went too fast is what it is. You have to go really slowly and do a little bit at a time. I was kind of rushing. And it's still a little wet. It's not fully cured. So I'm going to stick this under the lamp. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so now it is all dry. It's not sticky or tacky anymore. Anything anymore. I'm not going to worry about this. I'll just leave it for now. So now we're going to dome it. I used the UV lamp to dry these drippings, so they should be fine. Okay, so I'm going to start with the back side. Okay, and all you do is put a thin layer of resin on top. And you want to make sure it stays very thin or else it'll run over the side and drip down and it won't create a dome. And what this dome does, it just gives it that shininess and takes away any rough edges around the edge of your project of these letters. And so I'm going to use my popsicle stick just to run it close to the edge, make sure that there are no missing spots. You may not be able to see it too well when you're applying the resin, but after it cures, if there's any spots that were missed, you'll be able to see it really, really well. And you have to kind of do a whole new layer to get rid of the missed spot and make it like really smooth and pretty. Okay, so oops, I forgot. I'm gonna have to do this one real quick. Okay, I forgot that I didn't fill in the side yet. Okay. So if you didn't fill in the holes on the side of the letters, you have to be careful when you do the domain, so that it doesn't run down those holes. Yeah, so I bought 5 packs of the new BTS PTD photo cards. And so now I have 4 OT7 sets. I kind of debated whether or not to cancel one of the sets because I don't need it. But I think I'll just hold on to it. The other sets, 1 I bought off of Global, so I'll be receiving that soon. And then 2 I bought off the US, Weverse US. But I also ordered other things with it, so if I cancel the set, I'm going to end up canceling all the other items, and I don't want to do that because some of the items are not available anymore. Alright. I'm going to stick this under the UV lamp, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and it's domed, so you can see it's nice and glossy. Compared to this side, I mean, it's still glossy, but you can see the edges, and it doesn't look quite as shiny as this side does, right? Okay, so now I'm going to do the other side. Okay. There's always items that come on sale, like for the merch drops and stuff. There's always items that I kind of sit on the fence on, either because of the price, or I'm not really sure that I want to buy it. I don't know how much I want it. So I sit on the fence and I think about it. And a lot of times I decide not to buy it. But then something happens and I regret not buying it. So lately, I've been just buying it if I feel like it. Because I can always cancel if I change my mind or sell it, right? But with the Weverse items, if I don't buy it and then later I really, really regret it and I want to buy it, I can't because it's no longer available. So usually, I unless it's like really expensive and I'm feeling guilty, I will just go ahead and make the purchase and then think about it, what to do about it afterwards. But for this second merch, this new merch, there was a couple things that I was sort of sitting on. One was the blanket, the ivory blanket, and the other was the hoodie, zip-up hoodie. The blanket, because it looked kind of thin and small, and I wasn't sure if I wanted one that was thin and small. And then the hoodie, because, well, I bought JK's hoodie, I bought Jimin's hoodie, so I was thinking, do I really need another hoodie? And then the stitching and things, it's not really my style. And so on both of them, I kind of decided I would forego purchasing. But then JK wore the zipper hoodie at the concert, the Permission to Dance concert, and he looked so cute in it. So now I want it. Isn't that horrible? Okay, so I put a thin layer on the top side. I'm going to go stick this in the UV lamp. Okay, so now this is done. But I think I will actually add another layer because, let me see. Can you guys see the edge up here? You can see like some areas where it's kind of pinched a little bit. It's because the resin, like there's little I should have sanded that down, but since I didn't, there's like little ridges sticking up. So I'm going to add one more layer. It will make it a little bit extra round, this extra layer. So I'm going to add one more layer. Okay. And then after this, we will be done. And I will show you how to put a keychain ring on it. So it's not hard. It's a little bit time consuming. I kind of rushed this one. So you want to go a little bit slower than I did, especially with gluing the letters together. And you know, if you guys try this and you find a better way to glue the letters together, can you let me know, please? I really was not able to find a single video about gluing letters together. I guess people don't generally do that. There's a lot of videos on letters, like making the letters, and you know how to put things inside the resin as you make the letters, but there's nothing on gluing the letters together to make words. So yeah, I think sometimes like the tape works okay, applying the tape to the edges, but that was a little iffy too. Let me see, did I get all the spots? No, I missed a spot. It helps if you can catch the glare of the light on the resin. It shows you where you're missing spots, or if like if it's not smooth somewhere. You can see it through the light reflection. Okay, I think that should do it. Let me just check one more time. Actually, I don't like it over there. And again, even though it looks like I'm adding a lot, it's really not a lot because I'm using the popsicle stick. You do want to be careful not to add too much because it will overflow and run down the side. And if you move it in the light, sometimes you see like little dimples. Those would be either air bubbles or areas where there's just like a little dry spot that the resin didn't cover. Okay, I think it's okay now. Okay, now it's done. You can see it's very glossy, shiny on top. Okay, so that is how I made the letters and how I glued them together to make JK and BTS. I did make RM and who? I don't remember. RM and V. I made one V. But V is easy because he's just one letter. But with RM, I'll show you the letters here. With RM, it was a little bit difficult sticking the R and the M together. And so what I did was actually put R on top of the M. So it was like this, like BTS. One on top of the other instead of next to each other like I did with the JK. And that was okay too. It turned out okay. So you can either do it on top or next to, like this. And then in order to turn it into, you know, a keychain or anything like that, you have to drill a hole, and then you need these parts. And I mentioned before, I bought a drill, electronic drill. I've never used it before. This is my first time using it. So I'm going to go drill a hole and I will be right back. Okay, I've drilled the hole. Can you see it? Right there. Right there. I drilled a hole. It's a tiny hole. But it needs to be small because this thing is really small. Do you see it? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's really small. So I use pliers and hold on to it, stick it in the hole, and just twist. The hole has to be pretty deep. I might have to make this hole deeper. The hole has to be kind of deep, and you want to make sure that that you drill the hole as far as the thread goes down, because if you try to force this into resin that doesn't have a hole drilled in it, it will break. I found out. So on one of the ones I made, I drilled a hole, but it was too shallow. It wasn't deep enough, and I was twisting it, and it kind of started getting a little bit difficult to twist, and I forced it. You know, I was trying to make it go down further and have this screw drill the hole, and this broke off entirely. So I had to drill a new hole because there's a piece of metal in that one. Okay. All right. So now you have that, and all you have to do is get an O-ring, stick an O-ring on there, and then put the keychain part on. So I like to hold it with 2 pliers, twist it sideways to open it, stick it in, and then twist it back closed. You should never pull it apart. Don't open it this way. You have to twist it sideways. Okay, and then later you can I'll add the keychain part. Okay, and then that's how this is made. Yep. And then after you're done with this, you can actually embellish it. You can use paints. You can use like nail polish stickers. Let me see. I have one. I have a JK one that I put stickers on, nail polish stickers, and then after I put the stickers on, I put another layer of resin on top. And then this one I used resin as glue to put these little metal hearts, to glue these metal hearts on here. Yeah, so you can kind of decorate it as you please with whatever you have, and that's about it. I think I covered everything. For the layers, I did 30 seconds under the big UV lamp, and then for the domine, I did 60 seconds. Sometimes you will have to do more. Like this one, I think I'm gonna have to do again, because do you see? It's not glossy. Like something got on it before it fully dried, so it's not shiny. So if I add another layer of resin on top and dry it again, it will get rid of this and it will get really glossy again. So I think I'm gonna have to add another layer on top to get that to be glossy. Yeah. If you notice that the resin is a little bit sticky, or like it may not feel sticky to you, but it sticks to things really well. Like sometimes, like if you hold it next to another one, if you press it together, they stick together. If that happens, it means the resin's not completely dry. And I don't know why, but every now and then, it needs to stay under the resin light like for like 2 minutes or something. Sometimes it goes really long. But yeah, just stick it back under the UV light until it's not sticky anymore. I think this touched something that was sticky. Yeah, well, I've been on the side this whole time, haven't I? If you have any questions, comment, let me know, and I will answer them the best that I know how. If I'm able to, I will answer any questions you have. So this is the first one that I worked on. And as you can tell, I still need fine-tuning on how to glue the letters together. I think the tape works okay, using the tape to fold over to the side. But this one, because it's curved, it was a little bit more difficult to do. I ordered a different brand, so hopefully that one, it said less shrinkage, so I'm hoping maybe that will prevent it from curving, but we'll see. I'll test it out when I get it and show you guys. Okay, bye, till next time.